Hello, hello. Here we go. Day 9. Welcome back, everyone. We are live. Okay, there we are. Giving myself some love here. We're gonna call in our members. Okay, good. Yay, hello, and welcome back. We are in day 9. Those of you who are joining live, watching the replay, welcome back. My intrepid explorers on these days, my companions in 21 Days to Serial Abundance. Hello, hello, welcome back. Thanks for coming here. I know some of you have really been making the effort to be here live every day, and that's tremendous. You are doing yourselves a great service by doing that because you're concretizing new neural pathways. You're creating new bridges of consciousness by taking it in every day. I'm here, crushed it today on the treadmill. Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. So yesterday we had a pretty great call, and I hope some of you had some wonderful dreams from our brain room and pineal gland activation. I love doing that. It's such a quick process for me now that when I want to go into that, I can just feel really good, and it's a really good way to, completely do this check-in with yourself, because you're working with these 8 key areas of your life when you're working with the brain room and pineal gland activation. For those of you who did not get access to that yesterday, it's here. You can search for it on my Kathryn Mussell page, but you can also find it on my YouTube channel. And it was, it's a great way to check in with these key areas of your life and kind of get a snapshot of everything that's going on. Take the temperature of where your entire self-concept is, because these key areas make up not everything, but a good chunk, the bulk of what you consider your self-concept, your self-image, who you are. And yesterday I left things off by saying, we're going to talk about your consciousness is the key. Your consciousness is the key to everything that you want, because everything lies within consciousness. And so we will pick up on that thread. But since it is 11:11, and since my teachings, I had a dream unrelated to anything I cleared. Okay, I hope it was good. Since these teachings are channeled, and I allow a lot of wisdom to come in, and even though I might have a schedule for things and the way I want to talk about things, I leave it kind of loosey-goosey. I leave it kind of open, because if something wants to really come in and be expressed, I feel that I'm going to do everything I can to make myself available to do that, to be the vehicle that can express it. And so as I'm lying awake this morning, about 7:30, which is really early for me on a Saturday and not very easy for me to do, but there I was lying awake and thinking about life and how it is not linear. And this has a lot to do with why I teach the way that I do. And because it has everything to do with the way that we formulate our experience of life. It's how we build our experience of life. So I'm often using the example of as above, so below, because it's a mirror. It's all a mirror. We live in a holographic universe, so we can see our outer environment, whatever qualifies that. You could see it as the cosmos itself, the tapestry of life itself. You could see it as the physical, tangible things in your environment, the superficial things you can reach out and touch and have a connection with on a physical level. Your environment is your looking glass, and we're going to have a topic about that this week, a discussion. But it's all a mirror. What you take in as information is letting you know exactly what's going on inside of you. So that's why when you say, well, I'm not getting the results I want in this life, I'm not seeing the outcomes I wish to have, That is the mirror telling you, well, what's going on inside that is keeping you from those results. And it's not that you aren't this perfect snowflake of an energetic signature that's aligned with all the abundance. That is your birthright. That is your blueprint. It is prosperity. It is abundance. And there's nothing wrong. Please hear me when I say this. And if you have to go back and rewind this and listen to it 28,000 times, then do it. There is nothing wrong with the energetic signature of you. You are perfect and whole and complete as you are. You don't need fixing in terms of your energetic signature, okay? It's unique as a snowflake. There will never be another you. There will never, ever, ever, ever be another expression of consciousness, the great something, the field of mind experiencing itself through the unique energetic signature that is you. That will never come again. It has never been before, and it will never be again. There's only you in that sense. And so if you can take that in as a perfection in and of itself, then maybe you can let go for a second of the idea that I want this, but I need so much fixing. I'd really like to enjoy this in my life, but I gotta clean all this up and fix all this stuff first. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not your responsibility to clean up the beliefs that are holding you back, because those are your limits. The ideas, the assumptions, the beliefs that you have about yourself, those are the limits of you calling in anything that aligns with your energetic signature. That's what's causing static. That's what's causing distortion. That's what's causing an abortion of perfection happening, which is you naturally attract and magnetize all that is lined up for you. But where you push it away right before it enters your field, or it does enter your field, but you ultimately reject it, has to do with a feeling, a thought, an idea, an erroneous belief that you somewhere, somehow along the way adopted, inherited, decided to align with in truth, decided to believe it was true. And those are the mechanisms pushing away what you want. Does this imply we have one energetic signature and then we shift our energy as we move through things? Yes and no, because it is always and ever your level of consciousness, meaning your energetic signature is going to be, when you change your consciousness, when you undergo something like a paradigm shift, meaning it is a restructuring of your identity. A paradigm shift is nothing less than a restructuring of your identity, your self-image, your self-concept, the concept you have of yourself. It is always and ever going to be a consciousness breakthrough or several breakthroughs that line up with that shift, that allow or create that bridge or passageway of the paradigm shift to happen, okay? So the energetic signature of you is the same, but it is the level of consciousness that you inhabit that will either allow for the things that you're trying to call in, the results you want to experience. In other words, the outcomes that are positive benefits you want to have be part of your experience. It is always your consciousness level that is a key to letting that in or pushing it out. And the consciousness level has to do with how you view yourself. In other words, if you see yourself as the most successful woman in the world, and you say that to yourself all day, every day, to your subconscious, it's coming from your superconscious self that already knows the truth of you, and you're impressing it powerfully to your very suggestible subconscious. Your subconscious isn't filtering information. Your subconscious is impartial. Whatever is habitually imposed and impressed upon it, it'll take it in as truth every single time. That's why hypnosis works so well, okay? So if you're walking around saying every day, I'm the most successful woman in the world, and anything that comes in as conflicting evidence, you're like, nope, swatting it away like a fly. Like, I can accept that this is out there. I can accept that that information is there, but I don't have to take it in as truth. And I no longer do, because it doesn't line up with my truth that I'm the most successful woman in the world. And your subconscious will be like, yeah, you've said it a million times. We get it. You're the most successful woman in the world. So we're going to line up all these things in the environment, because we're the one that's dictating your experience of reality. The subconscious is saying this. So we're going to line you up with all those things that match that. Because your consciousness is dictating that that's the truth of you. Does that make sense? Like your fingerprint can't be changed, correct? You never change at your core. At your core, you are resonating in your truth. At your core, you're perfect. At your core, you are completely and totally aligned with your birthright of abundance. There's nothing wrong with you, in other words, at your core. The true essence of you is aligned with the higher spiritual truth with a capital T of who you are. As an expression of the higher mind, the infinite intelligence, the great something, source, God, whatever you want to call it, at your core essence, that's what you're aligned with. You can't have a more perfect connection than that, okay? But where we get bogged down is where along the way in this journey of life, life got a hold of us, an idea got a hold of us, a belief got a hold of us, and that compounds over time. Yeah, it is what you understand. Great. I hope that breaks it down. And great question. Thank you for asking that. A little sip of coffee here to keep me going. So, when I say life isn't linear, taking in on a deeper level this concept, and then talking about life not being linear and being able to understand, if you look at your life from where you are right now, the present now moment, and you're able to go through kind of like a rewind process. Hindsight and the way our minds are structured is always going to be linear. There's a little process I do before I go to bed sometimes because this increases my level of concentration. So you might want to try this too. If you're having trouble holding a powerful vision of where you want to be when you're doing your scripting practice, like I've been asking you to do since day one, if you've been doing a powerful visioning and imaging practice and technique for yourself, and you find it hard to hold your attention on a vision, try this practice because it works really well. And this shows you that when we're looking at things in hindsight, when we're picking up recorded information, meaning starting right where you know and rolling back or reviewing something in the past, it will always be linear, okay? But this is not how life works in practice. It's not how we build realities out. It's simply how we suss out information of what's already been. So let me explain. So at night, I do this little practice where I rewind the scroll of events of my day. And the more I do this, the more I can hold my attention on, okay, I'm starting from like, okay, maybe the last thing I did was, read this book and read this line of this book. And so I'll start there. So I'm in my bed, I'm laying down, the lights are off, my eyes are closed, and I'm rolling back through these events of my day. And so I'll start with, I put down my book after reading this passage. Before that, I was brushing my teeth. Before that, I was saying goodnight to Jimmy. Before that, I was doing any number of things, but I'll go back through all the events of the day, and if it's easier to highlight things like evening, afternoon, morning, waking, like just kind of categorize it that way, and notice how easily you get distracted trying to do that at first. But the more you practice this, the easier it gets. And so when you're rolling through or reviewing, like scrolling through the events of the day and rewinding it back, it's linear. And it'll seem like if you were to then put it together going forward instead of reverse, like the way you're doing it when you're reviewing it, you would think that, oh, that's the way my day got built up. One thing led to another and there was a progression. It was very linear. But that's not how life is at all. Life is a spiral. Life is a series of spirals and cycles. There it is again, as above, so below. The cosmos itself is a series of spirals and cycles. And everything's a mirror. So our own lives are spirals and cycles. Now, let me just ask you this. How many times in your life have you maybe tried to work on a limiting belief or an issue where you have a bad habit, a bad behavior? You're going through things in your life where you're going to experience phases, cycles of it, where even now, if you're trying to clear a limiting belief, maybe you're butting up against some limiting beliefs that you thought you had cleared before. And maybe this class is acting as or this series of talks is acting as a catalyst for bringing up some part of that belief that's still there. It's still part of the subliminal. It's still just right under your conscious awareness. And maybe this class, this series of talks has helped to bring that up a little bit. And you're like, there's another layer there. And what is the layer indicative of? Well, another cycle of it. And how did that other layer get there? Well, it's a composite of you committing to a certain habitual way of thinking or feeling or acting out in your life over time. And so you built up certain habits around it over time. You added to it, and maybe somewhere along the way you also took away from that. But we can see our life as, like, if you think of it as a spiral, if you hold the visual image of your life as a spiral, it's like we go up a little bit, and then we might stop and have a period of what we think of as stagnancy or being static. We're kind of revisiting who we've been in that space, evaluating who we'd like to be. And that pause is it's brilliant. It's there for a reason. It's called the gap, because this is where the consciousness breakthroughs take hold. And you realize, okay, when I take that pause, I'm going to realize something about myself. I'm maybe going to let go of something about myself that I took on over time. And then I'm going to probably put in something new, because the law of emptiness, right, that we talked about, that nature abhors a void. So if you remove or clear or release something else comes in, and you can be very deliberate about what that is, unless you're just going back to that default way of being. But we never go back to a default way of being, not really, because we're experiencing a cycle, a spiral of who we are. So even in that spiral, instead of it being linear, it's not like you get to a point on a linear timeline. You imagine yourself moving ahead and getting to a point that's far ahead. You're never going to be revisiting another point on that linear time scale that was back before. But if you look at life as a spiral, you know that's not true. How many times we revisited themes and we're like, oh my God, this old chestnut again? Because life is a series of cycles. Life is a series of spirals. Does this make sense? So we're constantly revisiting versions of us in the past. The problem is we think we're that same person when we butt up against a familiar theme, an issue, a challenge, a habit we want to get rid of, a way of thinking about ourselves we'd like to eradicate. We're never visiting that from the same level of consciousness, correct? We're always visiting or revisiting what seems like only kind of, there's a little bit of familiarity with, like, oh God, I remember this theme. I remember who I am from when this first showed up in my life. But if you do a little more evaluation, instead of trying to create so much meaning around, oh my God, this is me again. Why do I keep coming back to this? Why can't I get past this thing? You're in that kind of ego dread mode where you are thinking you haven't changed. You have. And the reason why this is coming back to you again as a cycle, as a spiral, because now you are in a different level of consciousness to treat this differently, to look at it with a higher level of mind, and to be able then to eradicate this layer that's presenting itself. Does that mean it's done completely? Probably not. Because as you keep having consciousness breakthroughs and moving up that spiral of consciousness, moving through yet another cycle of awareness, dollars to donuts, you're going to revisit that thing again. You just will. But again, instead of saying, fuck my life, you could say, this must mean that I have a higher level of mind now to be in a solution-based awareness around this issue, to treat this thing very differently now, to look at it with kinder eyes, to look at it and take it in with a lot more forgiveness and acceptance and acknowledgement of myself and approval of myself that I couldn't when it first came around. Does this make sense? I get very passionate about this. And when this came in this morning, I was like, oh, this is what we're talking about today. Because in a time of new beginnings, which is what the 1111 portal represents, this is powerful stuff. Does this resonate? Does this make sense? And this is why we stop moving forward. This is why we stay static. This is why we scratch our heads and say, my God, why am I here again? You're here again because now you're in more of a solution-based level of mind that you didn't have before. You were not embodied in before. Now you have fresh eyes on this thing, in other words. Now you have a higher capacity for problem solving, a greater level of knowledge and understanding and compassion and wisdom that simply wasn't available to you before. And the reason it's coming around again is the universe is basically saying to you, and I want you to listen to this very carefully. When these familiar things that make you want to go fuck my life and attach a whole bunch of meaning to it that simply isn't there, that's coming from ego dread, instead take that same amount of energy and say, this must be coming in now because I have a higher level of mind in order to be able to source this solution. The reason it's coming to me now, oh my God, I got goosebumps like crazy right now. The reason it's coming to me now, I think I might start crying, is because the universe is saying, hey, wake the fuck up, Kathryn. You're more capable now than you've ever been. You are at the pinnacle of capability in your life. This is being given to you now on a silver platter, this gift in the garbage, so that you can finally work through this level, at this level of mind where it's presenting a hobbling or an obstacle to you getting to the consciousness breakthrough that's on the other side of this. And surely it is on the other side of this, but not if you keep saying, fuck my life. Not if you keep saying, oh, this is me all over again. This is me in a nutshell. This is who I'm always going to be. That's not what's happening at all. I'm sorry, I'm really fiery on this one. Holy fuckballs is right. Okay? Thank you. This is huge. Breaks that idea that we are revisiting it because we didn't heal it before. Failed at it before. Well, that's, failed at it before is, we want to maybe not be in such a harsh light with ourselves. We simply didn't have the information available to us before. We knew what we knew and that was it. And there's nothing wrong with that. We don't even have to place meaning or value on that. Okay? But I'm trying to impress upon you here that life is not linear. It's not that and a lot of people think that like, we get to a certain level of awareness or consciousness where we stretch ourselves or we don't go back. Now that is true, okay? And if there's anything linear about this at all, it's that once you stretch your consciousness or awareness to a certain level, there is no going back because there's things that you can't unknow at that point. There's things that you can't unsee, okay? So if there's anything linear about it, that's what it would be, that your consciousness stretches to a point of not going back. But in terms of revisiting themes or issues or ideas or assumptions or perceptions, opinions, attitudes that you have about yourself, you're going to revisit them over and over again, but you're going to do that because they are a gift. I call them gifts in the garbage. They are a gift from the universe saying, hey, this is coming back around now because you didn't have the knowledge available before. You didn't have the emotional maturity available before. You didn't have the tribe of support around you before. It could have been any number of things. You didn't have the belief that it was possible for you to source a solution to this problem before. It can be any number of things. So at this point, it's coming back around again, not to punish you, and you aren't being tested. The universe doesn't test you, and if anything nails this in the coffin, I hope it's this. The universe doesn't test you because the universe does not have ego. And if the universe does not have ego, that means it doesn't have judgment. The universe is never judging you. The universe takes you in all that you are, in everything that you are, because the universe knows that you are perfect as you are. The universe knows you don't need fixing. But in terms of your subconscious and what it takes in as truth, that might need some fixing. Probably does. Most of us do need fixing in that area. Because we've taken on things as truth that simply aren't truth, so we got to clean that up. Okay? But you, at the core essence of you, do not need fixing. You and that perfect snowflake energetic signature of you does not need fixing. You're fine. It's the beliefs that you need to stop believing in. It's the ideas and assumptions you have to start giving credence to. Stop giving credence to. Does this make sense? Who's like having goosebumps? I'm at the pinnacle of capability. So the universe isn't testing you. It is saying, we're going to bring this back around again, because life is a series of cycles and spirals where we are, quote unquote, revisiting something that we didn't have the capacity to work through in our highest and best capacity before. So we're bringing it around again because you have undergone a certain amount of consciousness shifting reality. So here you are in this new vantage point where you're able to observe your reality in much kinder eyes, with a much more compassionate heart, with a lot of more forgiveness towards yourself, with a lot more approval of yourself, with a lot more confidence in who you are, with a lot more success in life, whatever that means or equates for in your eyes. That's what the universe is doing. Which one feels better? You tell me. That you're being tested again and punished? The universe does not deal in reward and punishment. These are man-made themes. This is our idea of patriarchal gods that dole out rewards and punishment like it's candy on Halloween. That's not the fucking truth. The universe is just taking in your vibration and witnessing it. It's giving you everything you're asking for, but where are you pushing it away? Where we form ideas and assumptions that get very convoluted, get very complicated, and actually thwart the universe's best efforts to deliver exactly what it is we're asking for. Yeah, good tears. So do you see why I wanted to talk about this today? And consciousness is the key. I mean, that is the, fundamental and foundational working premise here. But I want to talk about consciousness in terms of like why I teach the way I do in Leading Edge Creator, and why, some people have asked me, they want a real like module to module drawn out, like I want to know what you're teaching over 11 12 weeks when you do the next live round, and I want to be able to see it. And I was like, I can't do that for you. I can't do that for you. And that's not me being a flake. That's not me being out of integrity. In fact, it's being very much integrity, because that's not how this work works. Because once we get in this space, just like me teaching these 21 days to serial abundance, I let the knowledge teach me. I let myself be led by the wisdom. I let myself channel what needs to come in as information that isn't something that I just want to talk about, but benefits those who are here, engaged, active, wanting to take this information and change their life with it. I don't have a linear, I definitely can tell you the things we're going to be talking about. I can give you that, but I can't give you the order in which it'll happen, because I have to go with the spirals and cycles of the knowledge as it's happening in real time, because that's fully in integrity with how I teach. And if I'm teaching something that goes along with how life in itself is working, if I'm teaching about consciousness and awareness, why would I teach something that's linear to a life and a mind that is not linear? When we're working with impressing the superconscious on the subconscious, you're not talking about something linear at all. You're talking about cycles and spirals. And so that's very much the way I teach, and it's reflected in how I share information and wisdom in Leading Edge Creator. The information flows where it needs to go and comes in when it needs to, and we'll revisit themes and we'll go back to things, because that's what's important. Because as we grow and evolve in consciousness throughout the program, we need to pick up the thread exactly where we left off. And sometimes that won't go along with the linear module of programs. This is week 1, this is week 4, this is week 6. It doesn't work that way. I don't work that way. And, I'm not being dismissive, but if you need that, this is probably not the program for you, because consciousness does not work that way. Evolving and elevating your consciousness, being a consciousness engineer, does not work that way, because life doesn't work that way. The cosmos itself doesn't work that way. Okay? So you can probably grasp here that these are spiritually advanced premises. These are spiritually advanced concepts. So, I really wanted to bring this through today, and I'm going to leave it here because this is plenty. And, I want to get back to trying to do these in a half hour. But go back and listen to this. Where you started to get goosebumps or the happy tears, go back to it. Take this in, listen to it over and over and over again. Listen to what I said about you and your perfection of your energetic signature. And it is only ever that you have to stop believing the beliefs that are pushing away or rejecting or sabotaging the universe's best efforts to deliver the outcomes you are asking to receive. This is powerful stuff. So I wanted to say something before we close out. So those of you who want to receive these 21 days to serial abundance replays, today's the last day that you're ever going to see it for $99. You have 2 bonus guided meditations that come with these replays. They are in my member vault. Even though I am leaving Facebook, my member vault is off of this platform entirely. So I can preserve the integrity of my member vault because it has nothing to do with this platform, thank God. So you can have access for as long as you would like, and you get to go back to these calls again and again and again. I can't guarantee what Facebook is going to do with these. So if you've been enjoying the free option, that's great. But I can't even tell you if tomorrow or even next week, you're going to be able to scroll through my personal feed and find all of these talks. I can't say that that's true. But all of these are through Zoom, and they are being recorded, and every day is going into my member vault. And so even if you decide not to go on into Leading Edge Creator, these 21 days will give you a paradigm shift. They will bring you consciousness breakthroughs. They are already. Who's experiencing consciousness breakthroughs in here? And we're in what? Day 9. Okay. So that's a foregone conclusion. You're either going to see value with that or you're not. This is priced at a great value for $222 for all of these, plus the 2 bonus guided meditations, is an incredible value. The other thing is Leading Edge Creator, the price goes up on the 23rd. On Thanksgiving Day, the price of this program goes up to $19.99. So even if you wait until the 22nd, you can still get it at that price. On the 23rd, on our final day here, that evening after we do our last call for the 21 days to serial abundance, that price goes up and you're never going to see it less than that again. In fact, it's just going to keep going up. Because the more I add to this program, the more support I give. Eventually, when I can pull my member groups off of Facebook entirely and put them into my member vault, then I'll be done with this platform and it'll be great. Very much in integrity. One of the many reasons I love being part of this program. Thank you, Jante. Very much so. This truly is a new way of thinking and just wow. Yeah. Yes. Great. I'm so glad to hear that. So there's all the information, all the news that's fit to print. Tomorrow, we're going to go into consciousness is the key to everything you want. I can't wait to share this with you. I love sharing this with you. Please enjoy, have so much fun. I'm going to have the link down here for Leading Edge Creator and to also get the member vault replays of all these 21 days. So lots of love, everyone. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.